Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bo Finau interviewing Nathaniel Womble. And he's actually going to introduce himself, and there's a few questions and things he's going to provide an overview of. So, go ahead,
Thank
sir.
you, Bo. As Bo said, I'm Nathaniel Womble. And
What's today's? Do you want to give us today's date?
today is March 16th, 2012.
And your full name is?
My full name is Nathaniel Womble.
Uh huh.
And I was born in Georgia, in a small town about 2 hours north of Atlanta. It's
Okay.
actually northwest. A little town called Lafayette. I grew up there and left when I was about 17.
Okay.
Went to the military, did my 3 years of military service, went to Vietnam, and came back to Lafayette. And that was, at that point in my life, I was on a journey to find out just who I am,
Mm-hmm.
what my purpose is. I knew I wanted to contribute something, but I didn't know what it was I wanted to contribute. And the only thing that I had to base my existence on was the fact that I was taught that there is a God,
Mm-hmm.
and that Jesus Christ atones for our sins.
What did What do those teachings actually come from? Those come from your parents
My mother
or from
and
your
my
mother?
father, yes. My mother was the driving force, even though my father was a minister. But by the time I was 9 years old, he was out of the home.
Okay.
So my mother instilled those thoughts in me and feelings about God and Jesus Christ. I didn't know much about their characteristics. I really didn't even know at that time if they were two separate and distinct personages. I thought they were the same person acting two parts, even though the, the thought of that just didn't make sense to me.
All right.
But because I was taught in my early years to believe whatever the adults said to you, don't question. And so I went through life questioning, not questioning people, but questioning myself, asking, why is this happening? Why is this not happening? I'd lie in the field and look up at the sky, and I would think, what is this about? Here I am, this little man, this little boy in this huge world, and I don't even know, I don't even know how I got here. Don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it troubled me. And I asked questions. I questioned friends. I questioned strangers. I talked to people, from all walks of life, all religious affiliations, all denominations. I talked with, to try to find out, is this really legitimate? Or is this just something that people do to live with all of the stress and distress and problems that we have in the world? I didn't know. And, then I just thought, well, let me just get back in the swing of things. Let me just do what everybody else is doing and be happy. But I couldn't. I could do what everybody else was doing, but I couldn't be happy with it because I felt that I was more than what I was doing. That there was more that I needed to be doing, that I just couldn't be happy. And so I got on my quest again to find out some meaning. What does all of this mean? What do they mean when they say, I'm going to be resurrected? And I had experienced two things in my life at that point that caused me probably the most deepest pain that I felt even up until this day. One is my father leaving, and the second one is my sister passing. Those two things, because at that point I was old enough to feel. I had been with my father for 9 years, And the majority of those years, as I can remember, far back as 3, I was delighted to see him come home. I was happy when I saw the car, even at a distance, come into the driveway. I knew that I was going to climb up in his lap and and it's just sit on his knee and just touch him and feel him and know that this I'm a part of this man, or this man is a part of me.
Right.
And one day that was taken, and I didn't know quite how to deal with that. But I can remember very vividly. It was on a Sunday morning when we supposed to be getting ready to go to church.
Right.
That he was getting ready in his normal fashion, but he was taking more than he usually take. And he wasn't rushing me, saying to me, "Bonnie, get ready, put your shoes on, And so, okay, I thought, okay, am I going today? Nobody seems to be caring whether I get dressed or not. And then I realized that I wasn't going. This would be a trip that he would take without me. And probably there would never be another trip that we would take together at that point. I didn't know that then. So I followed him out to the car because I wanted to see if I could perhaps persuade him to let me go, have him stay. And I wasn't articulate enough at that age to really say what I was feeling, because I didn't even know what these feelings were, because I had not been exposed to this type of I don't know if you call it hurt or disappointment or emptiness, a void that was beginning to fill, my breast. And so he got in the car, and I said, "Daddy, let me go." And he looked at me and he said, "No, Bonnie, you can't go with me today." He said, "I'll come back for you." And he turned his head away, and I said, "Please take me with you. Let me go with you." And he didn't even look at me again. He just started backing out. And I was walking alongside of the car as he was backing out of the driveway. And then he turned the car towards the street. I walked down to the end of the street, and I was still saying, "Let me go, take me." And he pulled out. And I stood there in the driveway what seemed like hours, because for some reason or another, I wanted to keep something of that moment that would keep me, attached to him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I couldn't see the car no more, I listened to see if I could hear the engine. Something that would let me know that we have not, we still have some connection here of some kind. But then there was complete silence. And I didn't hear anything. And I don't know what it is that I felt, but whatever it was so deep and so deafening that I just lost consciousness. And really it took me days to really recover from, to get back to where I felt like playing, having fun, or doing anything, that little boys like to do.
Mm-hmm.
That incident. And then one day, my sister had been sick for a long time, and we had set up with her all the night, during that night. But the morning came, and she was just weak, and I was on the porch, on my knees, rolling marbles, and she came out the door. And
Now, this sister, is she older or younger than you?
She's older.
And what's her name?
Her name is Louise.
Okay.
So Louise, my mother was on one side of her, and I don't know which other sister was on the other side, but one of my sisters was on the other side. But I was focused on Louise. And I was down on the floor, and I looked up at her, and she looked right in my eyes, and I could feel her saying, "I won't be back." And so I got up, and I walked out to the car with him, just as I did with my father. They put her in the car. She was sitting on the back seat. And as they started to back out, I was walking alone. And I did not take my eye off of her the whole time. But I knew that same feeling that I had the day my dad left was the same feeling I had when they drove away with her. And then when I heard that she had passed away, I had those feelings. And I